it's me again. Today is Friday, June 10th, 2022, and this week was pretty interesting for natural gas. Natural gas on the whole was in the lull. It's summertime. There's not a whole lot of, outside of cooking, there's not a whole lot of demand for natural gas in Europe at the minute. But during the latter part of the winter, as you can see here, TTF was very high. It was $120 per 1,000 cubic feet. Whereas in America, we think $8 and $9 is pretty high per 1,000 cubic feet. There's much more of a demand for natural gas in winters. People heat their homes. Europe's pretty cold. You know, Europe doesn't use a whole lot of natural gas in the summer. They don't even have, like, air conditioning, a lot of things. I grew up without air conditioning because I lived in Northeast Ohio. You know, I'm from Cleveland. We had natural gas heating. And I've talked about this, how natural gas, at least in America, wasn't really, like, a thing until at least the 70s. Because it was all localized. And that's because of, like, rolled steel technology wasn't quite yet developed. The whole ability to transport highly pressurized natural gas. And because when you liquefy natural gas, it has to be very highly pressurized to liquefy it. Things sometimes happen. And as you can see here, the Freeport natural gas facility in Kitana Island, Texas, had an explosion on Wednesday, June 8th. There was an explosion. The island and surrounding beaches around the island were evacuated. Nobody was injured, nobody was hurt, nobody was killed, luckily. But it scared a lot of people. And because of this one explosion at the facility, which, by the way, they can recover from pretty quickly, it wasn't a whole lot of the facility. It seems, according to this picture, one segment of pipe. That explosion alone sent TTF prices, that's Dutch gas futures, it sent that up by about 16% on that day. Natural gas got scared because a lot of European requires, liquid natural gas coming from America. As a result, wouldn't it be nice if, there were more facilities? That's why I like to look to Tellurian. That's why I like Tellurian quite a bit. It's great. And if you want a CEO who provides you with lots of updates, go with Tellurian. Ticker symbol TEL. That's Tango, Echo, Lima, Lima. TELL. TEL. He gives you updates all the time, Suki. So if you like a CEO who gives you lots of updates, that's one to go with, is TEL. This just signifies that we need more pathways in the United States for the ability to create liquid natural gas. I know a property that might have quite a bit of natural gas on it in, Hudspeth County, Texas. But if you think natural gas prices are on the up and up in America at, $8, $9, a lot of the demand as well comes from the retail arbitrage of turning it into liquid and shipping it to Europe. Because, as you can see here, the Dutch natural gas pricing, at $83 per 1,000 cubic feet. That's about 10 times more than what the prices are in the United States. So it makes it very profitable to chill the gas down into a liquid form and then ship it over there to Europe. In other news, WTI hit over $120 per barrel this week. According to this article from Goldman Sachs, they forecast oil, and they say oil has been at a deficit. Oil will continue to be at a deficit, but not as much of a deficit. The deficit's going to reduce by about 50% according to the coefficient that they give. And they still expect oil to maybe peak at 160 this summer, which would be crazy. But overall, they say it should be about 130 by next year, and then it's going to equal out. We will see. Of course, they don't really have a crystal ball. This is just one of their forecasting models that they're talking about, given the current situation, current time. Things could happen. But all of these certainly look very favorable to the Orogrande, as there still is going to be an ongoing deficiency into the later half of 2022. As a result, think about, again, that natural gas price coming this winter. Winter's coming. According to this article on Goldman Sachs, oil will continue to remain high until balancing out sometime in late 2023. We will go from there. Again, this isn't a crystal ball. I had people show me articles today saying that the price of oil was determined from contracts 2 years ago. You know, if that was the case, why didn't oil stay as high as it was during COVID? You know, if oil price was determined 2 years ago, what happened in 2018, which would make it drop in 2020? You see, it's oil future prices have a part to play. The long term, oil future prices have a part to play. It's not the definitive tell-all for price. There's a couple of key variables put together, but a lot of the key variables that contribute to oil are demand, if we're at a surplus or a deficit, the logistics of such as if a liquid natural gas facility suffers an explosion, or if a refinery suffers an explosion, that'll often trigger the price to go up. Other variables which go into determining the price of oil and gas are weather events. You will usually see, you know, if there's any major storm fronts, which will have an effect on price. Weather, if it's particularly cold or particularly hot, you know, how that's going to play. And as well as global events such as conflict between other countries, trade embargoes. It's an amalgam of different scenarios kind of put together that determine the supply and demand, as well as the current production of the oil fields. And in America, you have different businesses in different areas. Political in America would also include no drilling on public land still. That is in effect. Which has certainly kept the demand for oil up. As I've mentioned before, earlier this year, Biden administration was supposed to open up drilling on public land. People are ready to go. Auctions were starting up for those bids to get the leases. Some went through, and then it got nixed. No more leases. Biden said no more. Biden administration said no. We're stopping that. Much to the chagrin of oil companies, but much to the cheering of investors of oil companies, because their prices remain high. As long as oil has these ridiculously high prices, you're going to see, in terms of companies, a lot more share buybacks. The big oil companies can go acquire other oil and gas assets like the Orogrande for stock in their company, because they've been doing all these share buybacks, which would be that non-taxable event we all want. And lastly, let me discuss, John Berta recently said that when asked if the Orogrande has any mineral rights tied to it, such as rare earth minerals, he clarified that the Orogrande, that the Torchlight asset only includes oil and gas minerals, not any rare earth minerals such as gallium. I know a lot of people were asking about that, as Hudspeth seems to be a hotbed for those rare earth minerals, particularly around Round Mountain, which is in the southern part of Hudspeth County, which has all the gallium deposits. Just a nice clarification, FYI. I know a lot of people are still asking about the whole rare earth situation, but the Torchlight only does oil and gas. The hydrocarbons, in terms of minerals, not any other mineral involved. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I will see you soon. Goodbye.